Nikola Jokic isn't just transforming the NBA, he's practically rewriting its entire record book, piece by piece. Imagine a quiet Serbian big man drafted during a fast food commercial, overlooked by almost every major scout, suddenly becoming the face of advanced analytics and modern basketball dominance. Now picture that same mild-mannered athlete guiding the Denver Nuggets to heights few believed possible, racking up triple-doubles at a dizzying pace, and outperforming legends whose names have practically defined the sport. That's the story we're diving into today. But it's not just about the trophies and the mind-bending stats. It's also about the swirling controversies, the whispers of alleged stat padding, the rumored locker room secrets, and the speculation that Jokic, despite seeming unstoppable, might leave the NBA sooner than anyone expects. This is the tale of a second-round pick who wasn't supposed to become a megastar, and yet ended up shattering milestones in ways nobody dared to predict. It all begins with a draft moment so unremarkable that most people missed it completely, while NBA fans and analysts kept their eyes on the biggest college prospects and a rising group of international phenoms. The screen cut to a commercial. Taco Bell was front and center, hawking their latest menu item. In the background, quietly and without fanfare, a graphic appeared. With the 41st pick, the Denver Nuggets select Nikola Jokic from somber Serbia. Almost nobody reacted. Some folks in the Denver front office probably raised a quiet cheer, but you could count on one hand how many casual fans had even heard the name. Scouts were reluctant to praise Jokic's skill because his build, at first glance, looked less than NBA ready. The consensus was that he lacked traditional athleticism, and rumors swirled that he might never even come over to the United States full-time. Yet behind the scenes, certain Nuggets officials had an inkling that they might have discovered a hidden gem. After all, from the moment they watched his European League tapes, they saw a big man who passed like a point guard, read defenses better than some star guards in the NBA, and consistently made everyone around him better. In truth, some executives were quietly ridiculed for the pick. Rival teams whispered that Denver had wasted a selection that could have gone to a more NBA-ready player. A few scouting reports pegged Jokic as a defensive liability who might struggle to keep up. Even so, a small cluster of analysts, those who had crunched the EuroLeague stats and studied Jokic's skill set, believed his potential might be extraordinary. Fast forward to his rookie year, and naysayers still doubted him. His early appearances showed flashes of genius, breathtaking passes, soft touch around the rim, though he didn't always play starter minutes. But it was enough to raise eyebrows. People slowly realized, maybe there was something special in this unassuming Serbian center. Maybe the raw numbers, the advanced metrics, and his surreal passing vision weren't just a fluke. Before long, Jokic began racking up triple-doubles at a rate most centers could only dream about. It wasn't simply that he got them, it was how quickly he did it. He needed the briefest bursts of action to log double figures in points, rebounds, and assists, sometimes adding steals or blocks just for good measure. But the moment that truly rocked NBA fans happened during his third season, in a contest against the Milwaukee Bucks. The game was already brimming with tension. The Bucks were tough, and experts wanted to see how Jokic handled a physical matchup. Then, in a span of merely 14 minutes and 33 seconds, Jokic completed the fastest triple-double in NBA history. It shattered a record that had stood for decades, set by Jim Tucker in 1955. Suddenly, the headlines exploded with references to the Joker, showcasing a center who dished assists with the flair of a seasoned point guard, cleaned the glass like a rebounding specialist, and could turn on the scoring whenever it suited him. Not everyone applauded. Whispers began circulating about stat padding, with rival fans arguing that his team let him chase extra assists or rebounds to pad his stat line. Some critics insisted the Nuggets' offense revolved around him so heavily it skewed the numbers. Yet every time reporters cornered Jokic with those claims, he'd shrug them off and say he just played his brand of basketball. Teammates backed him up, describing him as genuinely selfless, someone who would rather pass than shoot, and who celebrated a great assist as much as a spectacular dunk. Even so, detractors refused to quiet down, and each new triple-double only fueled the chatter. Meanwhile, fans who adored this underdog story became more fervent than ever, proudly pointing to the advanced analytics that seemed custom-tailored to prove Jokic's otherworldly impact on every single possession. Just as the debate about stat padding bubbled, Jokic found himself in the midst of a bigger conversation about the MVP race. The league had already flirted with awarding him MVP honors in his early prime, but as time passed, the argument became more impassioned. Traditional fans sometimes argued for players like Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, or even the flamboyant Luka Doncic, claiming each of them had a more dynamic or aesthetically pleasing game. On the other side, analytics devotees pointed to PER, a widely discussed advanced metric that accounted for nearly everything on the stat sheet. Jokic didn't just have a good PER, he was smashing all-time records. Even Michael Jordan's legendary numbers and LeBron James's prime statistics sat just below Jokic's towering efficiency. Another measure, known as BPM, box plus minus, also crowned Jokic as an all-time leader, reinforcing the idea that he contributed more on a per-possession basis than any player in modern memory. The advanced metrics mania sometimes turned into heated arguments on social media, with fans hurling insults at one another over the legitimacy of awarding an MVP to a guy who, at a glance, didn't look the part. Jokic, for his part, seemed to stand calmly in the storm, focusing instead on leading his team deeper into the playoffs and ignoring the white noise of online discourse. When he captured his first MVP, some fans were ecstatic. They loved the underdog story, the humbleness, the highlight passes. Others argued that narrative fatigue, or the lure of analytics, had overshadowed more deserving stars. It became a recurring drama. The MVP is too reliant on advanced stats, some claimed. He's not a strong defender, others argued. He's obviously the best defensive player right now, countered the pro-Jokic crowd. When he won it again, the criticisms doubled. A pocket of the media even suggested that awarding back-to-back MVPs to a second-round pick from Serbia was bad for marketing, as if it somehow detracted from the league's well-established star system. Yet for every doubter, there were even more fans pointing to his unstoppable synergy with teammates like Jamal Murray, plus the scoreboard results, which, at the end of the day, reflected a team that had no problem using Jokic's talents to rack up wins. But the controversies around MVP voting paled in comparison to the shockwaves Jokic sent through the NBA playoffs. Time after time, teams formulated intricate defensive schemes, presumably believing they'd found the strategy to neutralize him. Double teams, physical play in the post, roving defenders to cut off passing lanes. None of it really worked. He'd respond by picking them apart with timely passes, or simply bulldozing his way into a comfortable shot in the paint, or stepping outside to knock down an unexpected three. One especially fierce rumor claimed that rival scouts studied countless hours of film just to detect a single passing tendency they could exploit. They seldom found anything. No matter the coverage, Jokic almost always took the best option available. By the time the Nuggets finally broke through and won the first championship in franchise history, even his harshest critics had to concede that he was a generational talent. Let's revisit that championship run more concretely. As the top seed, Denver entered the postseason with high hopes and equally high pressure. Every star has had a moment where they either rise to the occasion or falter on the biggest stage. For Jokic, the entire postseason felt like a personal showcase of greatness. From the first-round dispatching of the Timberwolves to a Western Conference Final showdown against LeBron James and Anthony Davis, Jokic put up mind-boggling numbers. Triple-double after triple-double, efficient scoring nights that defied logic, and passing wizardry that made defenders look helpless. By the time he faced Jimmy Butler's Miami Heat in the finals, pundits wondered if fatigue would catch him. Yet he remained unstoppable. He led every player in total points, rebounds, and assists for the entire postseason, an achievement now dubbed the postseason trifecta, something no legend, not Michael Jordan, not Magic Johnson, not LeBron James, had ever accomplished in the entire history of the league. After finally lifting that trophy, Jokic gave a laid-back smile and coolly admitted he was happy to go home to Serbia and visit his horses. But while Denver celebrated, a new wave of debates erupted online. Was he the best player in the world now? Was it time to compare him with the all-time greats like Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, or Shaquille O'Neal? Statistically, he seemed to stack up in a shocking way. When you accounted for advanced metrics like PER, win shares per 48, or offensive box plus-minus, he was already outranking prime Michael Jordan in some categories. Realistically, no statistic is perfect, but seeing an unheralded big man blow away decades-old metrics lit a fire under fans, particularly those devoted to older eras of basketball. Some old-school players even bristled at the notion that Jokic's advanced numbers had him above icons who shaped the league. But the truth was undeniable. The numbers didn't lie. Jokic was, by nearly every advanced measure, the most efficient all-around offensive player the NBA had ever seen. To grasp just how far he'd come, it helps to consider where he stood among the triple-double royalty. Traditional stats have long revered the triple-double as a pinnacle of versatility. If you scan all-time leaders, you'll see names like Oscar Robertson, Russell Westbrook, Magic Johnson, and LeBron James, each a perimeter player known for ball dominance. Centers don't usually top those lists. Typically, they're not the offense initiators. Yet here was Jokic, comfortably entrenched in the top ranks, rewriting the record for big men with triple-doubles in the regular season and posting the highest single postseason total in history. Even in an era where players handle the ball more than in decades past, it was remarkable to see a 7-footer who moved like that, read the floor like a point guard, and racked up assists on par with Magic or Nash. Critics who once claimed it was a fluke grew quieter, replaced by new narratives about how the entire league might soon revolve around point centers. If that wasn't enough to stir debate, there were also rumors about how Jokic might approach the next phase of his career. Some fans insisted he might step away early, drawn back to Serbia to pursue a quiet life on the horse tracks. He's famously more animated talking about equestrian competitions than basketball, fueling comedic press conference moments. Others fantasized about him, demanding a trade to form an all-European super team with Luka Doncic, or trying his luck in a bigger market. For now, though, nothing concrete suggests he's leaving Denver. If anything, he seems settled and content, with management doing everything possible to keep him happy. Still, no great story unfolds without friction. One of the controversies that grabbed headlines involved a scuffle with Markieff Morris, where Jokic delivered a hard shove after a perceived cheap shot, leading to Morris missing considerable time. Some claimed Jokic had resorted to dirty tactics. Videos popped up on social media with slow-motion breakdowns of the hit, and rumors flew about whether the league would impose a harsher punishment. Nuggets fans quickly rushed to defend their star, pointing out that Morris had initiated the altercation. Others pointed out that Jokic's brothers, famously protective, got into a social media spat with Morris's family, igniting further drama. Ultimately, it turned into another footnote in the ongoing saga. Even though Jokic appears calm, he's capable of high emotion and swift retaliation when provoked, adding to the faint aura of mystery and unpredictability around him. One more persistent point of contention revolves around his defense. Though advanced stats generally applaud his effort, critics say his foot speed can be exploited against quick guards and wings. They reference the few series in which Denver's perimeter defense collapsed, forcing Jokic to guard smaller players on switches. Yet the Nuggets coaching staff and other proponents note that he's improved leaps and bounds in reading passing lanes, contesting shots vertically, and using his body positioning to compensate for any athletic disadvantages. Anecdotally, many fans recall timely steals or improbable blocks that sealed games. Moreover, they argue, his offensive brilliance more than compensates for any minor defensive limitations, especially when the scoreboard shows Denver repeatedly outscoring opponents by wide margins. Analytics discussions also continue to swirl around his shot selection and passing frequency. Some fans praise him for almost never taking a bad shot. His mid-range jumper has become lethal. His post-up footwork is mesmerizing, and he's just as comfortable flipping a behind-the-head pass to a cutting teammate as he is stepping back for a three. The synergy with Jamal Murray exemplifies a two-man dance orchestrated by Jokic's impeccable sense of timing. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more.